Hey everybody, so if the 90s, the 2000s, were the information age, I think we should be calling the 2010 to 2020, I think we should be calling that the misinformation age. Now I don't think it's necessarily our fault that this has happened, because this was the internet. It was a huge thing for humanity. I don't think people necessarily thought of it at the beginning any more than it's a massive encyclopedia. We can find out all sorts of facts and interesting things. I think that's what people generally thought about the internet to start with. Now, as I say, as we are the first and only generation, as it were, of people to have gone from not having the internet to having the internet, it's only kids in recent years that have grown up never knowing the world without the modern internet in the way that it currently is. And social media, very much importantly to this. It's understandable that we've made some mistakes, but I think we have to make some changes because, okay, I'm going to say some words now that I normally don't say. I'd be very good to keep away from it, but all I need to say is things like Brexit, Jeremy Corbyn, Boris Johnson, and all of a sudden, even though I'm telling you don't start arguing Brexit in the comments, I bet you there's some arguments down there. Just because it's been mentioned, because that's how hardwired, triggered people get by it. You just say one thing and boom, they're off. You've seen it over the past couple of years in the UK. I do think that people have become more short-tempered, more agitated, more moany, because of the added stress of what's been going on. When I was younger, I used to believe that what was in the newspapers was true. Well, it's in the newspaper, it's true. They check this stuff. Well, they might have done in the past, but even then, I was only born in 85, so we all know that the press, to be fair, the press has been corrupt since the start. As much as they like to think they haven't been, they have been. There's always been allegiances and stuff. But I do think there has been an awakening, as it were, of people's alertness to not only false news or news represented from a very strong angle, missing out a lot of the minutiae, which is far more important and kind of changes the aspect of the whole thing. Like with videos that you see, and there's a biker reacting to a car or something, blah blah blah, but they're already at the beginning of the video very, very angry. It's like, well, what's happened to get to this point? And in some instances the full video comes out and it turns out, actually the biker completely instigated this. But depending on how it's represented from what side, you can turn pretty much anything into anything. Something happens, and depending on which newspaper you read or who you hear the story from, you're going to have it explained very, very differently. That gives a very different sort of outcome as to what your opinion of it might be. And of course, one of the easiest ways to get around people getting a negative opinion of it is to just flat out lie, which they do a lot. And I made a video talking about should journalists be held more accountable for the news stories they release. Imagine there was a yearly vetting of every journalist and the stories that they put out. If they go through all their stuff and they're like, right, well, we've double checked through this one and we can find that at the time that was very misleading, 1 strike, and you get 3 strikes and you're out. Imagine that. And you're like, well, then who do you listen to? And the truth of it is, the only way you actually get to the bottom of this in any sort of meaningful way is to do research, to spend time reading multiple articles, trying to go back as close to the original information as possible. If you can get, rather than a journalist's highlighted opinion of a conversation that was had, listen to the conversation. But I think the problem is, a lot of people just don't have the time to spend doing that much sort of research to find out if what they read is true. And that's something I've always tried to do, is not speak on something I don't know about. I can still talk about it and say, well, this is just my opinion and I could well be wrong. But I'm leaving it like that. It's open. It's yes, you can disagree with me. You shouldn't need to point that out. You can disagree with anyone. But it's very different from having the standpoint of, this is the way it is, and that's what we should do. And you might not even agree with what I'm saying here. You might be like, no, it's not required at all. When I say what's required, I think, personally, it's time that we just accept that social media, and the media and everything like that, and a lot of things actually, even marketing and stuff like that. This is why I say I think critical thinking should be taught in school. And I know it is already in the sense of science, how an experiment works, what is an experiment. You have A, B and the control. That was, it's very, very basic level understanding of critical thinking and how to assess information. However, it seems that is about as far as well, at least my education went. I had to make these discoveries myself. And as I say, in the beginning I thought that media made sense, and then what changed my mind was whenever I read something about a subject that I knew intimately, I'd realise that it was wrong nearly 90% of the time in some way. Sometimes it was overselling, sometimes it was slightly misleading, and sometimes it was just completely wrong. I'm actually talking about wildlife stuff here, to be honest with you, because that's something that I know a lot about, and it's very easy to work out when someone's making something up. And yes, the true danger of false black widows springs to mind straight away. Do you remember the hate campaigns? I call it hate campaigns. Every newspaper, deadly spider will kill you. And none of them were like, spider that's been here for the past 40 or 50 years that won't do any great damage to you, and if you do get killed by it, it's probably because you were just allergic to it, like you would be a bee sting or a nut. You know, people worry about false black widows in their houses. They don't worry about nuts. What if it turns out you've got a nut allergy? Huh? I've heard that some people are so like allergic to nuts that if they even get a waft of the dust, they're going to have serious issues. I've never heard of anyone dying of sniffing a spider. Oh my god, they actually let me through. Thank you very much, very kind of you. Normally people are like, bike, plenty of room, let's just go. Push you straight into the gutter at the side of the road. Thanks, buddy. Thanks. And you know, I think there is more to critical thinking than just being able to make an informed decision, to be able to work out if someone's basically lying to you. And that is that it encourages individualism, it encourages opinion, it encourages discussion and debate, not argument. It's the one basis is to understand that other people will have an opinion on something. Now, when it comes to someone, you know, you've got, I don't know, a frog in front of you and someone's trying to tell you it's a white rhino, and you're like, no it's not, and they're like, yes it is. Well, you can be pretty sure that they're nuts, or they're lying. But when it comes down to something that's an opinion, when it comes to that, you can't be so sure, can you? Please just give me a second. Thank you. So as long as you can keep hold of that understanding that people will have different opinions on things, you're going to evolve more balanced people, because they don't have to worry about if people disagree with them, because they're like, well, that's just my opinion, and yours is different. And it certainly would be more useful than some of the stuff that's getting taught in school, or at least what I was taught. You know, I'd have been like to being taught about how taxes work, what's the involved running costs of a house, that sort of stuff. Now, I imagine this is something I may have picked up on in more recent years, but it's something they completely neglected. And I know what people will say to that is, well, you're not at school to be taught that stuff, that's the stuff your parents should teach you. Well, starting to get the feelings, I'm seeing some people that maybe they aren't getting as much parenting as much as put in front of a screen and allowed to do their own thing. Not always the case. Alpacas! Or are they llamas? I can't remember. Reno was telling me about them. But they are here. Because as I say, I think people have been really whipped up to the point that they're now getting frustrated so much with it that people are getting very impatient, and you can see it on social media, it's just ridiculous. Seriously, if you spend your time on social media spouting about political stuff, just understand that you may be right and you may also be wrong, but it really makes no difference to anything unless you're a politician doing something about it. So don't waste your life arguing with other people. It's not going to improve anything. It's just going to make you more annoyed. Just my opinion. So yeah, I think you can see what I'm saying here. I think the world has changed a bit. You know, the age of misinformation is here, and where we go from now is interesting. I don't know. I mean, you'd like to say, well, just stop the misinformation. I don't think that's ever going to be possible. Let me know what you think. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're not. I'm on my way to 100k and I appreciate the help. And lastly, if you'd like to really support this channel, join my Patreon for just $1 a month. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Bye bye. Quick inset, apologies about the mess, I'm currently sorting out my TIG welder stuff. I had a parcel arrive, well, this little package, and I need to open it on camera, so I'm going to stick on the end of this video. I wonder what is inside, it could be anything. Ah, these are, they are arbors for cutting discs and grinding discs for a Dremel. I haven't got that many of them, so those are very handy. Whoever sent me those, thank you. I'm fully stocked up on them. Also, just to say, if there's a bit of a slowdown of videos or a bit of a gap or something, I've got a few things coming up I need to get done. Like I need to get my bike MOT'd, so I need to go over that. And also, we had some sad news last night that my mum died. She was 99.5 and she lost her marbles many years ago, so it wasn't unexpected, and it's one of those ones that's kind of, it's sad, but at the same time it's like I wouldn't want to have been living her confused existence, so it's kind of like, it is what it is. Plus 99.5, you're not doing bad, are you? But obviously with that, there may be things I need to help out with, which means I might have to just drop everything and go and do that. So yeah, just a heads up. Having said that, most of you are probably busy doing all your Christmas shopping and stuff anyway, so we'll catch up soon. Bye bye.